This is Andrew Klavan on The Culture. As the new year begins, I hear you asking, what do we mean by our culture? Maybe that was just me. In any case, Western culture began with the democracy in ancient Athens. There, since Christianity hadn't started yet, everyone was gay. As a result, theater thrived, including the groundbreaking production of Sophocles' Antigone, which dramatized an extraordinary question. Does an individual have a natural right to defy the power of the state in order to obey the gods? Unfortunately, there were very few Jews in Athens at the time, so no one actually went to the theater, and Antigone folded out of town. There were Jews, however, in Jerusalem. One of them, Jesus of Nazareth, seemed to many to personify the presence of their one God, lending to individual man an authority and worth that superseded the prerogatives of both church and state. Church and state celebrated the joyous revelation with their traditional banquet, followed by a crucifixion, a clever plan to make sure Jesus' philosophy would never spread. Now, within the crucible of the Roman Empire, Jesus-inspired Christianity united the visions of Athens and Jerusalem, giving Western man the raw materials he needed to understand the imperative of individual liberty. He also had the raw materials he needed to invent the light bulb, but he didn't do that either. Instead, Rome was overrun by savage tribes who spent the next 1,500 years slaughtering one another while working out the ramifications of Christian loving-kindness. This blood-soaked melee was known as Europe, and despite all its wars and persecutions and French people, it managed to create the single greatest culture the globe has ever known. Bach and Mozart, Shakespeare and Dante, Leonardo and Michelangelo, Descartes and Newton, a culture whose spirit informed the astounding moment in 1776 when the most brilliant group of political thinkers ever born gathered in Philadelphia to declare, individual man has a God-given authority and worth that supersedes the prerogatives of both church and state. Why didn't we think of that before? Thus began the United States of America, which led the Western world to its freest and most prosperous era yet, and whose story continues to this day. I think. Actually, I'll have to get back to you on that. So stay tuned to PJTV for this year's Klavan on The Culture.